This video is for people who have been conditioned into believing that working on your dreams or taking care of yourself is selfish. To manifest the life of your dreams and unlock your true potential, you have to shift your focus down to the most important person in your life. You. Now, some people will undoubtedly get mad at you for doing this, and this may actually be one of the reasons holding you back from fully committing. Those scathing looks, the disapproval from family members and elders when you choose to focus on yourself and put yourself first. Welcome back to Becoming DISScomfortable, a Gen Z podcast dedicated to preparing you to step into your light and become the best version of yourself. I'm your host, Lila, and let's get into it. Step 1. The why and the mindset shifts. So when I talk about prioritizing yourself, I am telling you to adopt this specific mindset. Become okay with being called selfish. I want you to completely dismantle the belief that taking care of yourself and doing what you love is selfish. In fact, when you are not selfish with your time, when you pour and pour and pour into others constantly without receiving something of similar value in return and end up feeling drained and depleted, not only will future you pay the price for this, but you will also be doing a disservice to the people around you, to your loved ones. Because if you can't even show up for yourself, how will you show up for them? Another thing to mention is what's considered selfish behavior will completely vary from person to person because our opinions are so subjective. Mindset shift number 2, if you don't prioritize yourself, your specific goals and dreams, then you will prioritize someone else's. Think about that for a second. How does that make you feel? This reminds me of the dozens of stories of people around me who quit their jobs and eventually started working for themselves because even though they might not have hated their jobs, they realized that there is something so special and beautiful about building something that you can call your own, about prioritizing your own goals and desires because it fills your life with meaning. It gives you a purpose. It makes you feel alive. And this perspective is not just limited to working and business, but also cultivating a lifestyle for yourself that fills you up with energy and gets you excited to get out of bed in the morning. It's about filling your own cup so you can help others fill theirs. But this isn't something that just happens in a day. Like anyone else, you are a human being that's also just figuring out life by yourself. So you have to give yourself the grace and the time to figure things out in your life. And you can't exactly prioritize that if you're constantly putting other people's needs and desires above your own. At some point, you will come to the conclusion that mentally and physically, your body has had enough. Prioritizing yourself also helps you become a better person and improves your ability to process stress. There will undoubtedly be moments in your life where you experience stress, pain, hardships, anxiety, and mental health issues. If you do not learn how to calm yourself down and understand your body in these situations, you will have a lot of trouble. People who don't prioritize themselves enough to learn what their body needs and how to process their emotions will inevitably fall into perpetuating displacement, which we discussed in detail in the 50+ glow up tips for summer video, which talks about how to glow up mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially. But to summarize, displacement is a psychological defense mechanism in which a person redirects a negative emotion from its original source to a less threatening recipient. A lot of people do not practice this control over their emotions, and when they cannot direct their anger towards the source, so for example, a condescending boss. As a result, when they're angry and upset, they take it out on the people around them, which then builds resentment in their loved ones and eventually destroys their relationships. As an article from Psychology Today puts it, if we don't practice self-care and find healthy ways to meet our needs as individuals, we tend to have less energy, complain more, drag our feet, feel more resentment, and criticize ourselves and others, all of which can be draining to to the people around us. And so, do you see why prioritizing yourself and practicing self-care are so important, not just for ourselves, but to be better members of society? Gaining better control over your emotions provides you with peace, mental clarity, and calmness. And you always want to try to make your most important decisions when your mind is calm. You can do this by investing time into getting to know yourself, what your favorite hobbies are, what can you do to energize and recharge yourself after a bad day. An example for me is hot girl walks and playing basketball. And because I know these things 100% make me feel better before doing them, I always try to factor them into my week, even when I'm busy or have a lot going on, because I know that these habits help me lay the foundation for my mental and physical health. And the craziest part is they're such small things, right? It's usually the smallest things that make the biggest impact on your life without you even realizing it. So besides that, how do you actually prioritize yourself? Like, what do people mean by that? So since this podcast is aimed at young people, although of course all age groups are welcome, if you are in your teens and 20s, you should realistically have a lot more time and opportunities to prioritize yourself. Make your subconscious understand that no one is coming. Every single person already has more than enough on their plate, and absolutely nobody cares. And I know that sounds kind of mean, but there are two ways to look at it. No one cares. No one cares. So you're free to do whatever you want. You're not living for other people's opinions and judgment. You're living for yourself. And I think we forget that a lot of the times. So if you want to make that vision board a reality, you gotta get up. Going back to being young and why that is so helpful is because you have time. You might feel behind in life, sure, but you have the time to figure it out, even if it might not seem like it. I'll let you in on one of my stressors for quite some time. I was and still am worried about surrounding myself with the right people. The minute you leave high school, this becomes so important. Finding the right people, the right partner. I've seen relationships thrive. I've seen relationships crash and burn and result in heartbreak. But either way, it has made me think about it a lot more than I honestly should be. The way I see prioritizing yourself is making sure that you have poured into yourself enough to, first of all, lay a foundation for your life, and actively making the decision to not commit to more responsibilities than I can handle until I'm ready for that. Until I'm in a position where I can share my space and my life with another person without feeling drained. So many times people fail to see the responsibilities and obligations that come with being a partner, being a parent, until they actually become one, but by then it's too late to turn back. So it's like mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially preparing yourself as best as you can so that you don't end up getting overwhelmed, but also life is unpredictable and you honestly have no idea what's going to happen. So obviously this should not be mixed with perfectionism. You know, feeling the need to have every single detail of your life together and have everything planned out before you decide to open your heart up to meeting new people and new opportunities. So you need to find the balance between the two, and that really depends on the timeline that you envision for your own life. Let me remind you, this life is yours to live. And the last thing you want to do is end up making decisions based on other people living vicariously through you, or who don't know you nearly as well as you do, which can then ultimately result in regret and resentment. Okay, so to avoid being repetitive, since I talk about these things a lot in my other videos, I'm going to briefly summarize the actionable steps you can take to prioritize yourself. Number one, investing in outlets outside of your phone. This includes hobbies, things that make you happy. Like I said, hot girl walks, making any kind of art, getting ice cream to reward yourself, anything that helps you process your emotions in a healthy way. More details on this in the summer glow up video. Number two is journaling, and I'm gonna break down what I mean by that because I know some people, including myself, get confused when people talk about about journaling. Like, what does that mean? So if you want to feel happier and more fulfilled, then you can try gratitude journaling, which you can search up prompts for that online. Or if you want to get to know yourself better, work through your childhood traumas, figure things out, then you would think about more like diary style deep writing. And then of course there's also hobby journaling. So like keeping a bullet journal, or I'm gonna use my friend's journal as an example here. She's currently keeping one to track her summer memories, and she's so artsy and creative, and I absolutely love every single thing about her page. Go check it out if you want some inspo. And then of course, once you're in a good place mentally, pushing yourself or hustling can be a good or even great thing as long as you're not sacrificing your health. Go and work on your goals, whether that is getting a degree, a promotion at work, building a business, or a project that gives you purpose, whatever it is that fills your soul. And that's not just gonna like magically come to you. Well, like ideas might pop into your head here and there, but in order to get to know that, like you actually have to go out and try new things. Number 4 is to actively make time to hang out with the people that energize you. So I'll give you an example. Since I work from home, I really struggle with separating work from fun and just living. So like whenever I go out, I will be bringing my laptop, my hard drive, my iPad, my notebooks, wires, chargers, everything, and just carrying this huge heavy bag with me everywhere, which never really allows me to relax. But when my friends come and visit this summer, I have already established a rule for myself. I will be downgrading to a mini bag where I can basically just fit my lip gloss and a phone maximum. I will make sure to completely clear my mind so I can give them my full attention and focus on just having fun. Because even when you're doing what you love, at the end of the day, it's still work. Work is work, you know? You have to eventually learn how to separate and create boundaries. Another super underrated tip that actually changed my life over the last 6 months is to learn about exercising, nutrition, like improving your diet, and fixing your sleep schedule, which by the way is so much more important than we think, because we literally do all of our like building and healing in our sleep, not during the day, which is crazy. And like, I didn't know that before. FYI, these things take a lot more time than you might think. Like they're a lot easier said than done. So if you don't actively prioritize them and go out of your way to make time for them, you'll never have time. Now, let's talk about what happens after you begin your journey. Number 1, your tolerance for bullshit it gets a lot lower. You become a lot less tolerant of disrespectful behavior, bad influences, of bad habits and toxicity. Your circle becomes a lot more tightly knit. You get picky with who you let into your life and what you invest your time and energy into. This usually has to do with self-respect. When you pour time and effort into yourself, you naturally increase your overall self-respect. And so when you start treating yourself better, of course you do not tolerate shitty behavior from other people. You also become in alignment with your goals and your dreams. Once you take the first step and you eventually commit, then it's really a combination of hard work, smart work, learning from mistakes, and having the humility to know when to pivot and to be okay with doing that, to say, hey, I messed this up, or this didn't work out, let's try it another way, or another way, and another way. And you do that again and again until you get your desired results. And I think it's also about utilizing your advantages and your privileges instead of feeling ashamed of them, and using any disadvantages or hardships in your life to self-motivate, and of course staying consistent until you get those desired results. And as I mentioned before, this completely varies from person to person because we all have different ideal versions of what we believe to be our dream life. People start to appreciate and respect you more when you begin prioritizing yourself. Your energy becomes addictive because now you're living in your light. When you are at peace with yourself, you naturally bring peace into others' lives. The reality is people are attracted to things and people that make them feel good about themselves. When you are fulfilled and putting yourself first, you are naturally going to be a more fun person to be around. And you can also help other people feel good about themselves, maybe uplift them when they are having a bad day or dealing with insecurities and problems in their life. There really are very few downsides to prioritizing yourself, so why not start today? That is all I have for you today. Don't forget to join our Discord community if you want to surround yourself with people that you can grow with. And also, if you like books and wellness, the link for that will be in the description. And if you want to listen to Becoming Discomfortable on the go, like while you're cleaning your room or something, this podcast is also available on Apple and Spotify, and links for those will also be in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in the next episode.